What was the percentage of money? Let's go to Hammer.
Dahn.
What was the amount of money on the Buffalo Bills last night against this Falcons team?
About 75%.
Minus 3.5 down there in Atlanta. Now, there was a little bit of an update. Jeezy was going to be performing at halftime, which certainly could have changed some people's thoughts. It changed D-Butt's thoughts, actually, and it made me feel very good about picking the Atlanta Falcons. But that defense, they get slaughtered by the Carolina Panthers. Then Olbrich comes back and puts on like a master class against Josh Allen. And people are talking about Raheem Morris, who had the joggers on. A lot of the coaches wearing the joggers we looked around had lost this weekend. Hasn't looked great. Raheem Morris has gone in there, implemented his culture, and it feels like Penix is a guy. It feels like Bijan is the guy.
Yes.
And defensively, they have a chance. This Atlanta Falcons team, I think we all mocked and ridiculed there for a while, thought they were making bad decisions. $180 million backup quarterback, and then you draft a guy. But Atlanta gets a huge win on Monday night, D.
Huge win on prime time. And it's a week-to-week league. You talked about the 30 shit loss to the Carolina Panthers. You see what the Panthers have been doing since. And then now with the Buffalo Bills, we thought they would be the class of the AFC with the reigning MVP, and they've dropped 2 in a row now. This one on prime time, and you mentioned it. The defense showed up, got after Josh Allen. After the first couple plays in the first quarter, you thought, oh, this is going to be a shootout. Josh Allen throws a dart in his first play. After that, he was under a lot of duress from the front end, from the back end. They blitzed him on over 70% of his dropbacks in the second half. That's not usually a number you see with an MVP caliber quarterback. I don't think the Falcons were scared of those weapons on the outside. You see it right here, just blitzing. This was a beautiful overload pressure by Diablo and the boys coming off the edge. So they drafted pieces. They brought the right pieces over on both sides of the ball. You talked about Bijan Robinson. When Dan O came on, he kind of mentioned it too. He said it's probably going to be a bad matchup for the Buffalo Bills on offense and defense. Now, this is the run right here. I had to show this to BA. Say, BA, what the hell is this called? So this is our 28 blunt right here. This is a weak side zone, and he hits this gap. And that's one of the weaknesses when you have this Buffalo Bills defense who runs that 4-2-5. So they keep 5 DBs, on the field at all times. Only 2 linebackers. They can get kind of moved around. Penix did a great job as well, hitting the Drake London. Sorry for the guys who had the guys and gals who had the 2 touchdown ticket for Drake London. That sucked right before the first half ended. Got all the way to the 1-yard line. Unbelievable play by Drake London, one of those 8 first-round picks on that Atlanta Falcons offense. He's been great this year as well. Shout out to Michael Penix. Shout out to Atlanta Falcons. And Raheem Morris getting a big-time primetime win.
No, I'm going to say it. 4 seconds, had a timeout, could have got down for a field goal. Instead, you try to be a hero, you step out of bounds at half-yard line. Okay, some football person will say that. This was an incredible play. I thought it was a touchdown just like everybody else. And I immediately thought to myself, oh, that's close to silly. And the Bills think they're going down to get down quick. And then bang, not so fast. We go for the touchdown. Obviously, his cleats touch out of bounds there. Could have had a 2-touchdown night. Let's talk about the Falcons' defense versus Josh Allen. 2 interceptions for Josh Allen. That's his most since 2024, Week 10. 4 sacks. That's his most since 2023, Week 1. Okay, that's a long time ago. 16 pressures, that's his most since 2023, Week 18. And his 18.7 QBR that he put up, that's his lowest since 2019, Week 17, whenever he couldn't throw a football to somebody. That's before COVID, brother.
Jeez.
That's a long time ago, 2019 is QBR. So bad night for Josh Allen. Obviously, bad night for the Bills. Great night for the Atlanta Falcons. And who's the man that deserves a little bit more credit down there in Atlanta, maybe for all the pieces that they brought in?
Terry Fontenot. I think it was right before the Combine. It came out like, hey, the Falcons aren't meeting with any offensive players. I think Florio reported that, as he does a lot of stuff that he doesn't break. And he mentioned, hey, the Falcons are only going after defensive guys, and that was kind of the big thing going into this offseason. Like, hey, how come the Falcons have all these first-round picks? He's mentioning with Drake London, and they're not good. It's because their defense stunk, and then they drafted all the right guys, and now they're good. It's awesome.
Terry Fontenot has been buried publicly a lot.
Yeah, big time.
Okay, for the way he looks, the way he acts, the decisions that have been made in the Atlanta building have been to save Terry Fontenot's job, is what everybody has said publicly. Raheem Morris getting hired. A lot of people said, well, they hired Raheem over Bill Belichick or anybody else because it keeps Terry Fontenot's job. Okay, that's the only reason why it's happening. Terry Fontenot's just sat in the pocket. Draft Penix, pay Kirk Cousins. This guy's a dipshit. Boom. Terry Fontenot sits in the pocket. Hire Raheem Morris over Bill Belichick. Well, that's strictly so Terry Fontenot can keep his job. What a terrible decision. Terry Fontenot sits in the pocket. They start out bad. Terry Fontenot sits in the pocket. Now they get a huge win over the Bills. We should at least say, hey, Terry Fontenot, Feels like it might be working out. The division might be working out.
We got the number one defense in the league and number 2 offense. They're doing
Is that good?
They're doing some things right.
Let's talk about Old Brick. How do you go from, or let's just talk about teams in general. How do you go from that Carolina? And is that guy related to Matt Conti right there? I think so. Do you look at the face? Pretty similar. Mike Conti. I think Matt Conti came from Atlanta as well. His dad worked with the Falcons, I think. I wonder if Mike is his brother.
Family business.
And the Conti brothers could be putting out stats and PR for 2 different teams in the NFL. We might have to start thinking about a family dynasty.
Yeah.
What these Contis are doing in the PR world. But you're talking about them having number 1, number 2 defense. This Old Brick guy, obviously out of the New York Jets, and then everything happened his offseason. Now he's down in Atlanta. We know he brings intensity. We know his team likes him a lot. But how do you go from that Carolina game where you get your ass beat to then to beating the Buffalo Bills, who are Super Bowl favorites, with the MVP favorite and everything like that? Is that just figuring out who you are? Is that the boys just shit in the bed one day and you understanding that that's not what your team actually is? Like, why do you think that happens with your 47 years of football experience?
Yeah, I think for sometimes you're going to a division team that you don't think is very good. But Carolina Panthers haven't lost at home this year. And they went in and spanked them pretty good. It's like, oh, this is a wake-up call. And they've played really well since. But Jeff Ulbricht's been one of the best defensive minds in a long time. When he was with the Niners, they were really strong. And he has changed the whole culture because Raheem's never been a blitz guy. He was a Monty Kiffin Tampa 2 guy, and they're getting after the quarterback. They got 5 big guys in there all the time now, and it's a mismatch somewhere.
Do we think this is the Atlanta Falcons for the rest of the season? Do we think this is who they are? Or do we think the Carolina Panthers game is who they are? I think that's
I think this is who the Falcons are, definitely. And you know what? If they avoid injuries, they're going to be really tough all the way down the stretch.
Congrats to the Falcons, man.
Yeah.
Congrats to the Falcons.
Remember, they were the bottom barrel league when it came to getting after the passer. So to go and be aggressive, and Fontenot got a lot of shit this draft when he traded back into the first round to get James Pierce Jr. at the end of the first round, who talent-wise was kind of like a top 10, top 8 pick coming into the year with some other off-the-field things. But yeah, that up front, that makes it easier on the guys on the back, and they've drafted and signed well back there as well.
Congrats to the Bears. Congrats to the Falcons. Now let's turn to the other side of last night with one of our favorite segments, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for BS or no BS with BA. Okay, so we'll be making statements that have been said by other people that are statements of fact. It'll be your job to tell us if that's BS or no BS, BA. Once again, these are not our statements. These are things that we have seen and other people have said. We're just asking if he thinks they're real or not. First one, the Bills are in more trouble than the Eagles. Is that BS or no BS, BA?
That's no BS. I think the Bills, they've got to get out of this 4-2-5. I mean, they're giving up the most explosive plays, or 3rd most explosive plays in the league, 5.8 per rush.
Damn. I
You can't win that way. And I don't know if they're short a linebacker or what it is, but Bobby Babbitt's got to come up with something new because it ain't working right now. Offensively, I don't know where the points are coming from other than James Cook. They don't have a wideout right now that scares you for Josh, and that's why you're seeing all the blitzes because they're locking them down. Terrell locked them down the receivers last night. It's not Bills football.
Okay, so do you think the heat is going to come for McDermott? Let me tell you. Yes, the heat is coming for McDermott. It always does. I feel like McDermott has been on the hot seat every single season that Josh Allen has become MVP-like candidate. I think it comes with the territory. It comes with the job. If you have the best player in football, you should be winning the biggest game in football. Do you think it's McDermott? Do you think it's the build of the team? How do you think they kind of navigate the next few weeks as they try to battle through McDermott getting his job called for by everybody, including Bills fans?
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Sean. He's done a great job for a long time now, but it's time for change. Can you adapt and react and change? And I think it's time for them to change some things on both sides.
You're not saying firing. You're saying messaging, wording, things like that.
Everything that you're doing. And like you said, they got the bye week. Let's go back to the start. How are we going to build this thing? How are we going to fix it? And I have a lot of trust in Sean to get that done.
McDermott's a defensive guy, right? That's kind of his thing. So his defense kind of being the weak link here in obvious problem. It feels like, Dan Orlovsky called it yesterday. I think the stats obviously say, which people have been loud about, the Bills' defense is really a question mark. But then you talk about his offensive weapons. It's like they let Stephon go a couple of years ago. Obviously, Stephon having a little bit of a resurgence up there with New England right now. Kincaid was out last night. Yeah. He was supposed to be a big part of their weapon. And Shakir, a guy, like we know some of the names, but it's always like Josh is going to elevate him. And then defensively, it's the same problem. 4-2-5 is the reason why you guys are saying it's a problem. Us layman people are like, they can't They just can't stop the run. Can't stop the run. You're going to have to be able to do that in Buffalo, especially in big-time games. Patriots fan, obviously you're excited, but the comments are coming loud about this Buffalo Bills team.
Well, and that's the thing about the defense. Like, the defense works when Matt Milano's healthy. Like, Matt Milano is their best player on defense. He's been hurt. So, like, that's my question to you, BA. Like, why isn't McDermott making a change? Like, they haven't been great rushing the ball on defense all year because they don't have their star guy in the middle who makes all those other, the four up front and the linebacker next to him play well. So, like, if your star player that makes this defense work isn't playing, like, why isn't he changing it, I think is the real question for a lot of people who were Bills fans and for a lot of people who were laughing at the Bills fans last night.
I think for the Bills right now, you've got to change that defense. You've got to get 7 in the box against these running teams and play a little more man. You got to mix it up a little bit. If they know where you're standing, they're going to block you.
Mm-hmm.
That 81-yard run, there was nobody. One missed tackle.
Yeah.
One missed tackle is all it was. They just blocked everybody, and one missed tackle is touchdown. Now, this is maybe the best player in the league right now, Bijan Robinson, but you just can't have that on defense.
Bijan was fun to watch, and it takes you back a couple of years whenever people were protesting the Atlanta Falcons because they weren't giving Bijan either reps or ball or plays, or maybe Artie Smith wasn't the offense that Bijan needed. We got a chance to chat with him on Radio Row. He had that Nirvana shirt.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
He's a cool dude. I like his vibes. I like what they got going on, and obviously him and Penix both young. Maybe they're the future of the entire league.